job and being supported by the intelligence services. Only 2 days ago, the DSS was able to apprehend and take in the successor of the notorious gangster in Benue State known as Ghana. So his own successor, whose name is Chekere Kefas Andofa, has been arrested. His other name is Azonto. And as soon as he was apprehended by the DSS, his own successor was arrested also about 16 hours ago. So you can see that despite all the challenges we're having, the armed forces and the intelligence agencies have been able to find a way to work in synergy, to link together, work harmoniously to ensure that we have greater success in the theater of operation. Of course, President Buhari, in as much as he's satisfied with the actions of our defense and security forces, has also urged them not to relent. You know, of course, as a retired general, he knows that in operations there will always be lulls. Sometimes victory begets, you know, other issues like complacency, lethargy, and other things, but he has stated clearly that we must bring this thing to an end, working, of course, in partnership with our regional colleagues.
That's a retired general. He is the National Security Advisor, Babagana Munguno. He made that speech in October 2021. If you listened carefully to him, the military is at war in every part of the country. And the political leadership buys arms. But the political leadership refuses to change the conditions that create violence. Do I say they will fight in vain until the conditions are changed? The radio man is here. And Victor Olutaiwo is here. He's the author of the book, Nigeria on Gunpowder, The Climax of Misrule. Victor Taiwo, it's good to have you on State Affairs.
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure.
Now, I'm interested in a subject, Yoruba Council of Elders.
Yes.
You claim to be the pioneer.
Yeah.
How did it start?
Thank you. As a pioneer of the self-determination project, not only Yoruba land, but in the whole of Nigeria, we discovered that we had been working in vain to get resources to run our battle. The project began 1994, and up to 2000, I was virtually spending my money. Virtually spending my money, draining my purse, you know, doing everything to get money. And you discover that the peasants that with whom we were working were like, they didn't have the money too. They were just making sacrifice to come to meetings, trekking. And at sometimes some of them will even come to you, lead a place, we don't have money for transportation. And here was a huge task ahead of us. Then sometime in the year 2000, I cannot remember the month vividly, I thought we needed some resources, and there was no way we could get the resources without getting some elders involved. So I thought over the I think I woke up around 2 a.m. 2 a.m. that morning. And I just started scribbling down my ideas, my thoughts. Then I arrived at building what you call Elders Council. Elders Council of the Yoruba leaders. So, when I woke up, I just went straight to our grand patron. We had Honorable Justice Adwale Thompson as the grand patron of my organization.
Odua Redemption Alliance.
Yes. And I discussed the idea with him that we needed to bring up some leaders to assist our project, purely to assist our project. And he consented to it. That was how we started. That was Genesis. That was sometime in the year 2000. I have all the records, but I can't remember the date offhand presently.
Adewale Thompson.
Oh, yes. So that was how the journey began.
So, at what point did you stop being part of it?
Oh, it's a very bad story. Very, very bad story. Very, very bad story. I wrote the whole experience in one of my books entitled World Terrorism, Diagnosis and Path to Global Peace. The whole story is there. When we started, there was a tragedy that I personally invited, inadvertently anyway.
Tell me.
Yeah. Pity I would not want to mention the name of the person involved because it's like we have settled our rift, but history is always there, undeletable. My secretary, when we were planning the Yoruba Council of Elders team, my secretary then, who later became the MD or GM of Daily Sketch, Sunday Olagunju, told me that he had an uncle who could be interested in this project. I said, who is the person? And he mentioned the name. I never knew the person from Adams. I never heard the name before. He said he would want me to give him invitation that he might want to be interested in the project. And I said, well, no problem. I wrote a letter to him, personally signed by myself, and he delivered to him. And truly he showed interest, and he came. So he started performing very well, maybe very outspoken, you know. And the way he was very outspoken actually attracted the interest of Justice Thompson. So he embraced him, that this man could be very active. So we got on board, but immediately we launched the project on 21st October 2000. But one thing, especially about the man, is that he never contributed one kobo. Whenever we were discussing fund, he would turn his face somewhere else.
So what did he do?
So when we launched the project, I was even the one that nominated him. I gave him an office. Please occupy this position of financial secretary. And immediately he got there, I was his first victim. The money I spent on my own for the launch of the project was recommended for refunds to me by Justice Thompson, but he refused for reasons best known to him. That was the beginning of the crisis. How could I have worked so hard, spent my money, and you are now saying you will not give me the money back when the money was already there? So it was after that I discovered the true person, the true color the man was wearing.
Okay, let me ask.
So he wanted to corner all the positions, vital positions in the organization, which he did.
Which he did?
Yes, which he did.
And that forced you out?
So there were a lot of quarrels. I was not an easy person. There were a lot of quarrels, serious quarrels.
No.
But at a point, I felt I would not crumble the house that I built. So I just felt, well, instead of continue to fight, let me ease myself out.
After this break, we will now go to the politics of the Yoruba Council of Elders.
Okay.
I want you to help me unravel some questions.
No problem.
I'm discussing with Victor Tao of Odua Redemption Alliance. We'll be back.
Hello, Mrs. Martins.
Yes. Oh, Mrs. Johnson, how may I help you?
Junior's body temperature is high, and he's complaining about headaches and body aches.
Not to worry. Get Bruston and suspension.
Okay, ma. I'll call you back.
Bruston and Suspension for Children is a sweet-tasting brand of ibuprofen which provides relief against toothache, pains, and fever in children after 30 minutes.
Hello, ma. Oh, Oh, Junior, stop that.
Is everything okay, Mrs. Johnson?
Yes, ma. Junior is fine now. In fact, Junior, sorry, ma. I'll call you back.
Brusting and suspension for children. Always take the product after meal. If symptoms persist after 2 days, consult your doctor. A quality product from Rambaxay.
Building on the successful completion of our first session with attendance testimony of our professional handling of the classes, we invite interested applicants to enroll for the next stream at the Splash FM Media Academy, an arm of the West Midlands Communications Limited. Our mandate to restore professional excellence in the broadcast industry is still on course, and that's why we invite you to hurry up and enroll now for full-time and part-time intensive practical lectures in presentation, journalism, programs and content development, basic production and digital media, presentation in Yoruba, and so on, leading to the award of Certificate of Proficiency in Broadcast Journalism. Course duration is 6 weeks of intensive practical classes plus interactive practical mentorship sessions with veterans and industrial placement. To register, visit the Splash FM Media Academy beside White House, Felele, Ibadan. For inquiries, call 070-543-93332 or 080-569-98676. On Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, we are at Splash FM Academy.
Àríkẹ́ ojú rẹ̀ ṣe akọrẹ lọ báyìí.
Bọ̀dá wà sún ewé fílẹ̀ òjé alọ́jà òya.
Ọjà àyà bíi ti bó ó túmọ̀ sí pé ọmọ lo mama ATM mọ́sọ̀bù ẹnu.
Bọ̀dá wà sí ìwé dákun ewu tún ni mama ATM POS.
Mama ATM ní gbogbo ntajà tó ní sọ̀bù ń lò báyìí. Ìwọ wo sadé tó ní sọ̀bù nísàlẹ̀ ọjà lọ́hùn. Gbogbo gbala ń bára máa ń wo sọ̀bù rẹ̀ tọ́jà rẹ̀ sì ń yán kíákíá. Torí wípé ń lo mama ATM POS. Èyàn nìkan kọ́ àwọn ń bára tó bá tó ara nǹkan lẹ́yìn dòdò sọ̀bù rẹ̀ àtúmọ̀ ara research card. Eléyìí tó tẹ̀ jáde lórí mama ATM POS. Àwọn ń bára máa ń gbowó lórí mama ATM POS machine. Wọ́n á tún fi owó sórí decoder DSTV, GoTV àti StarTime lọ́dọ̀ rẹ̀. Sọ ti wá mọ ìdí tí sọ́ọ̀bù sadé fi gba ìbúbọ̀ ládùúgbò báyìí tó sì jẹ́ pé kò ṣe mọ́wọ́ ní gbogbo ń bára rẹ̀. Ọ̀jẹ̀ yára tètè lọ gba mama ATM POS. Káwọn ń bára rẹ̀ mọ ìyá ń kẹ̀tíkẹ̀tí.
Ó ní ṣe wá gba mama ATM POS machine.
Kàn sí mama ATM ní nàbà 6A Ọ̀lànìyàn Fagbemi Street off Mobile bus stop lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ for the Live Center Ìyàgànkú GRA Ìbàdàn. Nílùú Èkó Suite 18 Aláùsá shopping mall Ìkẹjà 0809-950-0554. Mama ATM gba owó pẹ̀lú ìrọ̀rùn.
Are you in need of a nice and comfortable, fully furnished hostel accommodation in the University of Ibadan? Or are you in search of a place for seminars and executive trainings? Look no further. Adebayo Akonde Hall is the go-to place for your lodging needs with a home away from home feel. Adebayo Akonde Hall is a 4-star hostel built in a serene environment with constant supply of electricity. It has fully furnished rooms that gives you great comfort at an affordable price. Adebayo Akonde Hall is located at Ajibode Extension, University of Ibadan. For inquiries and reservations, visit www.adebayohall.com or call 080-5699-8718 or 080-5699-8719 or 080-5699-8720. Adebayo Akonde Hall. Built for comfort. Built for you.
Mọ ohun tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní àyíká rẹ nípasẹ̀ ìròyìn BBC ní Yorùbá. Nítorí kí o tó lè tayọ, o ní láti mọ̀ ọ́n. Ní ìmísí pẹ̀lú àwọn oríṣiríṣi ìròyìn láti ibi àti káàkiri àgbáyé. Nígbà tí o bá ní
And this is another episode of Splash on the Streets, where we ask the people of Ibadan interesting questions. You want to know today's zone? Let's meet on the streets. Between a car and a house, which would you prefer to get first?
I'll go for house now.
Why?
Because it's more durable and it gives someone more comfortability and it's an asset. You know, and it has future more than buying a car.
Okay.
So you understand, a car is just to show someone's flamboyance, you know, a kind of being arrive and you know, and it makes people even to run after you. They thought you have a kind of much money in your hands, so I would prefer to buy a house first.
Priority matters, but first priority in this country is having a car.
Why?
Just to make for your easy movements. But the number one thing is to have your house, because you can't live in your car with your family members.
So personally for you, which one would you pick first?
I can't decide until I ask my partner. Because once you are married, you are no longer yourself, you are now one. So it's not all about you, it's about you and your partner.
I prefer house than a car. Why? Because if I have cars, I cannot sleep inside car wherever I'm going. But if I have house, whenever I'm living in the house, I'll have a home.
Okay.
Ilé ni màá kọ́ra.
Ilé dé sá.
Ilé ìjàmọ̀ mọ́tò mọ́ jàmọ̀ nítorí mọ́ náwó sí mọ́tò rẹ̀ ṣùgbọ́n lé ọkàn mi ọba ilé lórí.
First, house. Why? Because I can have issues with car later on, but house. Oh, she one paper on money. Oh, like you say, you get like that. It's for a very long time, and look old. You can just review. The car, you just dispose it, sell everything. That's okay.
Now, house.
Why?
House is an asset. Why car is liability?
When you ilé wa okay because mọ́tò lele yìí àtẹnità ni mọ́tò lè last dance so o lè tó.
Started. Victor Taiwo says he initiated the idea. At what point did the Yoruba Council of Elders become political? How did Bola Ige come in? Ayo Adebanjo is an old-school politician, active in the discussion, even after attaining the age of 90. So let's look at it from this point, and Victor Taiwo will take it up from there. Ayo Adebanjo told me this in 2016.
When we said that today, it was Bola Ige, Tinubu, and Obasanjo that decimated AD and Afenifere. That's it. He used them that he was supporting them that don't listen to the party leaders, and so they clinged on to him.
Was Bola Ige behind the formation of the Yoruba Council of Elders?
More or less. We need that later. Because they tell you, even Thompson, who was the leader, and you can confirm this from Ayo Okadokun, we were coming from somewhere, I will call that Thompson's place in the Bado. And Thompson then told us that he was trying to form a Council of Elders. And we told you that no use proliferating Yoruba organization. If there's anything wrong with Afenifere, come in there and rectify it. The unity of Yoruba land can't be solidified, can't be concreted by organizing various types of organization. And said he agreed. And all the papers of the Yoruba Council of Elders, he gives Ayo Okadokun. That aspect, I challenge you to go and confirm from Ayo Okadokun still alive, because he was the secretary of Afenifere at that time.
But he still went ahead to...
He still went ahead. And to show you, no sooner they formed Council of Elders, he led them to come and greet Obasanjo in Asoro. That is when they didn't hide their support later, and we are carrying on.
Victor Taiwo, can you respond to that?
Well, you see, it's best to have stories told from the horse's mouth. It was a wrong impression that Bola Ige was behind Yoruba Council of Elders. He wasn't.
He wasn't?
He wasn't. At least I'm here to tell the story. I was the architect, and I had nothing connected to Bola Ige when we formed Yoruba Council of Elders. But let the truth
Adewale Thompson.
Let the truth be told.
Okay.
At a point, because I want to have a record of credibility all my life, at a point, there was a crisis between the Afenifere and Chief Bola Ige. When he wanted to go for the presidency, this primary thing, and it was like there was a conspiracy against Bola Ige by the supporters of Olufalaye. So Bola Ige was defeated at the primary due to some whatever internal manipulations or whatever among them. I'm not a politician anyway. I was not part of it. But Olufala had the day. And anybody who knew Justice Thompson will know that he was so much obsessed. I will use that language. So much obsessed about Chief Bolaige. He loved him so much.
He was the Attorney General.
Yes, he was the Attorney
General.
Under Ige. He loved Bolaige so much. No doubt about that. You cannot contest that. He could lay down his life for Bolaige. So when that crisis of what's the name of this hotel? D-Robans came. It was like Justice Thompson wanted to have his pound of flesh.
Because he was part of that primary at D-Robans.
I don't think
he was. Thompson was.
I'm not sure.
He was, I'm sure.
I'm not sure. No, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I was not interested in anything politics.
All right.
So I knew he wanted to fight for Bolaige. And he wanted to use the instrument of YCE.
Okay.
To fight him. That's the truth.
That's the truth.
That's the truth. And he called me. Victor, let us modify this YCE thing. I said, for what, sir? That let's bring in a lot of people. You know, my own format was to bring in few credible people from across the states, the 10 states. Let's say, let's make it an all-embracing one. Want to launch it, want to do this and that. And I discovered that he was trying to use the thing to fight for Bolaige.
For political purposes?
Yes. So I had to do one thing. I persuaded him against it. I did not have the intention of creating this thing for political purposes, purely for Yoruba agenda. But he was now towing the line of using it for political purpose, just for fight for Bolaige. And I had to go to Abuja because of that. I went to Chief Bolaige in Abuja when he was the minister.
What did he tell you?
I told him there was something Justice Thompson was planning to use this organization to fight for you. And I don't want it. Please try to persuade Justice Thompson against it. And he promised me he would do that.
Did he do that?
I don't know. Up till now, I didn't have the fact. But
did he come in? Did Bolaige come into the Yoruba Council?
He did not at any point in time, he never came into it. So he was never part of it.
Was the YCE used on behalf of Bolaige to fight Afenifere?
Well, I have told you, Justice Thompson was out to fight for Bolaige against Afenifere.
And you will say that fight emanated from the result of the primaries at D-Robans.
That is the truth. That is just the truth. So, as I said, I went to Bolaige to persuade Justice Thompson against it, so that it doesn't look like the YCA thing will be used for its own purpose. And he promised me he would do that. Whether I did that or not, I will not know.
But when you went to Adewale Thompson, you didn't know he was a political strategist? That at some point...
I never knew.
But you know now he was a political strategist.
Yes. When he told me he wanted to, remodify the thing, I knew, and I challenged him, and I fought him.
Why didn't you want YCE to go political at that time?
No, I would never be part of it. My vision was quite different from Nigeria.
Did you see anything coming when it went political?
Yes, I knew there would be a kind of repercussion.
Is that repercussion linked to why Bolaige died?
I will not know.
Doctor,
I will not know.
Yemi Farumbi, it's good to have you on State Affairs.
Thank you very much, Edmund, and thanks a lot, Victor.
You have heard Victor's story. You listened to Chief Ayo Adebanjo. Bolaige, YCE, what do you have to say?
You know, the Yoruba says something which I love. They say when you see a cripple and you see that whatever he's carrying is not straight, and you begin to complain, he says, don't look at the top, look at the bottom. D-Robans did not start the crisis.
What did?
There had been a crisis when we had the UPA. You see, there was a struggle within the UPA, and it was a successor struggle.
Sunday Afolabi?
No. people believe that one day Chief Awolowo in his almightiness will need a successor. Chief Awolowo had wisely avoided creating the position of a deputy, learning from his experiences, the bitter experiences from his relationship with Akintola. And there was imagined within the UPN two strands. Those who thought Baba Kekere would succeed.
Lateef Jakonde.
Yes. And those who think that Arule Awolowo, that is Ige, will succeed. They were always there. It was that competition that affected Oyo State that led to the politicization of an ordinary second-term affair. It became clear to some people that the way to play this game was to checkmate Bola Ige. Make sure he could not get a second term. So if the other person would get a second term, then of course, if one day, and they were all thinking of 1987, if one day Baba Awolowo was not contesting and they needed a successor, a man who couldn't get a second term cannot be a competitor. And so the UPN in Oyo State were factionalized. SM Afolabi, Alhaji Busari Adelaku, Chief Michael Omishade, and all of them were Jakandist in that case.
Who were the Iges?
Pardon?
Who were the Iges?
I've just mentioned them. SM Afolabi, Michael Omishade, Busari Adelaku, teamed together and worked with
MPN?
Jakande.
Okay.
There had been no issue of MPN.
At that time.
Then Obasanjo, who was a friend of Bola Ige, from the day they both worked together in the cabinet of late General Robert Adebayo, and was a junior to SM Afolabi, thought that the two of them should be reconciled. And he called a meeting. And it happened at a time that Chief Obafemi Awolowo was on his usual medical vacation abroad. That same night that the meeting held, the delegation immediately went to London and told Chief Awolowo, Bola Ige is not loyal. Absolutely disloyal to you. He's holding meetings with a person that didn't allow you to become president, a person who does not like you. And this led to what we call the Night of the Long Knives in Yola, where Bola Ige was put on the spot, and he was on his feet for 8 hours, answering accusations of disloyalty because of this meeting. Promoted, supported actively by Laniwade
Ajayi,
Ayo Adebanjo, LKJ, and all of them. And what they wanted was that because of that action, they wanted Bola Ige dismissed
from the party.
Since then,
the battle line was drawn. Awolowo did not concede.
Awolowo, after listening to all of them in Yola, he said, "You have started again. This was the same way you people argued in Jos and created the schism between him and Akintola, which at that time, the effects are not cleared." He said he was not going he asked Bolage to sit down, and the matter ended that way. But Bolage couldn't have been happy. And those who saw him, his rising profile, his intellectualism, his humanism, the fact that he loved the youth, he was a symbol of the youth, so he was a rallying point for the youth. Those who saw that and having seen that they have failed, never gave up. And so when they came to D-River, myself and my good friend, Professor Tunde Adelino, sat with Uncle Bola and told him that this game you people want to go and do is not good for you. You shouldn't have left the PDP. These people you are going to team up with are the same people who were there at the night of the long knives in Yola. You know what Bola Ige told us? He said they have become born again. And I told him, politicians don't get born again when there is personal competition. And that is it.
All right.
That was what played out at D-River.
Ayo Adebanjo told this story that you just heard from Farumbi in his book. By the time I interviewed him in 2016, I met him writing this book. He resisted that interview, telling me that the stories I have come to know are the stories he's penning down, that he doesn't want to tell me before his book comes out. Somehow, I was able to convince him, and he told me the story. But the book is out. It's entitled Telling It As It Is, the autobiography of Ayo Adebanjo. Now let's go back to 2016. Ayo Adebanjo here. You know, I asked him if Bolagi believed he worked against him. So let's listen. So when he lost, how did he feel?
If we don't, you see, even Ayo fast on me is still alive. He announced he was a member of the electoral college. He announced the result. You see, the pressure till today, and I hope many people will be listening now. Many people will be surprised the way I'm talking about that I was not a member of the electoral college because I was regarded as the main opponent of Bola Ige.
Were you his opponent?
Never. There is a misconception.
Where did that come from?
You shouldn't ask me. It is those who have that. We are good friends. When we were in Ibadan, I stay in his house whenever I come to Ibiti there.
Did he believe you were one of those who walked against him?
He believes so, and I tell you why. Before the election, we had a meeting in Kaduna. We had a meeting of the AG. In fact, we stayed in his wife's house. There was a judge of the Court of Appeal. And he asked us that he was going to contest election. I asked myself, at this one, and then he that we should support you. And I told him, I can't support you. I am the chairman of the party. Will it be fair for me to support a candidate against the other when I'm the person to which the report will be brought to? Our Lord didn't teach us that way. So he's doing that. Not that I was supposed to say. I only said that on principle.
But would you have loved that he emerged as the presidential candidate?
He's qualified. He's qualified. I only leave it to the democracy people to do, the body to elect. But for me to give an advance, would you say that would be fair?
Chief Adebanjo, what happened during that election?
I wouldn't know. You should ask those who are there.
Did you ask them? Because Bola Ige was sure he was going to win.
Look.
So what happened? How did he lose that election? Because Yoruba land has not recovered from the crisis that emanated from that election.
It just depends upon how you look at it. You see, the young men and his admirers have their view. Those of us who are in the show, we know what happened.
What happened?
What happened was that there's a misconception, in my view, on the part of Bola Ige. And I said, those whom he said would vote for him that electoral college, how did his starting become dying or something? He should have asked himself. He told some people that, well, I'm going to win. I know one of the people I knew he told was Ambassador Fafora. He told me.
Victor Taiwo, can you come in? You listened to Dr. Farumbi. You just heard Chief Ayo Adebanjo.
Yeah.
Come in.
As I told you, there's one basic thing about me. I have never been interested in the politics of Nigeria since I came into this job. Not for once, not for a moment. Anything political, anything Nigeria, I was never interested.
But you write political books and you say you're not interested in politics.
What I'm telling you, I'm not interested in Nigerian politics.
But you write books about Nigerian politics?
Yes, it is a kind of illumination into the history of Nigeria.
So you are interested?
Maybe your perception. Maybe your perception is quite
If you're not interested, you wrote a big book, Nigeria on gunpowder, and you're not interested?
Please get me right.
All right.
I'm partisan politics. Maybe I should put it that way. Partisan politics, I have never been involved.
All right.
Up to this moment. And I will never be involved. Bola Ige was my greatest inspirer in Yoruba land. He was my greatest inspirer. He was a lover of youth. He was a lover of intellectualism. So we flew, we really flowed together, you know. But when it comes to this partisan political thing, I was never there. I was never there with him. I was never there with him. So when anybody lumps this issue of Yoruba Council of Elders, Bola Ige, politics and all the rest, I'm not involved.
You are not involved.
I was solely concerned about Yoruba liberation.
And you are not concerned about Yoruba partisan politics? And you want Yoruba...
I was never. And I'm still not.
You should be concerned.
I should, but I'm not.
What do you want?
I want Yoruba liberation, that's all. That's all. That's all.
Has Yoruba people not been liberated already?
No, we have not been liberated. We are still in bondage.
Even after Awolowo?
We are still in bondage. Serious bondage. We have not been liberated.
And these politicians cannot liberate?
They will never.
They will distract themselves?
They will never. I don't trust any politician. I don't trust any politician. I do not say a single person.
So if you want to liberate it, won't you play politics?
That is after, you know, playing politics before liberation is not my
Liberation is politics. It's a question of power.
When I'm talking of partisan politics.
Yes, it moves to partisanship for you to consolidate liberation.
After achieving the liberation, you can now fashion out your kind of the type of governance you want to operate.
What is
partisanship? Partisanship, okay. Somebody is AD, somebody is PDP, somebody is MPN, somebody is UPN, somebody is SDP, and not the rest.
Can I be partisan Yoruba? By being Yoruba, can I be partisan Yoruba?
I don't know.
We need to question the word partisanship.
Partisanship, I've just told you, when there are various parties.
It's about identity.
Yes, when there are various parties.
It can be SDP,
branch, but
it can be Igbo.
Yes.
It can be Yoruba.
Yes.
It's about identity.
Yes.
So Victor Taiwo is partisan.
I'm not partisan. Because I've never belonged to any party.
So partisanship is party?
Yes.
Dr. Farumbi, please come in.
I think it's a very interesting argument. Because the whole essence of politics is who gets what, when, how, and why.
That's the struggle.
Yeah. Whether at a mini or a micro or a macro level. I think Victor is just narrowing it to whether you are AD or PDP or whatever. Once you have a definite viewpoint about how something ought to be organized, that is a position. That does not necessarily translate into a political party, but then it's a partisan position. When you talk of the liberation of the Yoruba, which I know nobody had worked for longer than you, it's also a partisan position. I want the Yoruba to be liberated. This is the approach I think it should take. This is the format that it should take. That is a position. It is partisan. Not necessarily either as AD or PDP or UPN, and I think that is what the two of you are saying virtually the same thing.
It's context. We have different contexts.
Yes, but within different contexts. There are people who also want Yoruba liberation who have different approaches from yours.
Oh, yes, that's right.
So they are partisan.
Okay. By your definition.
But not necessarily. You see, forget political parties now.
Okay.
In any matter, when there are more than one side to an issue and you take a side to it, that is a partisan position.
The dictionary defines it as prejudice in favor of a particular cause or bias.
Absolutely.
So Victor Taiwo is partisan.
Yeah, so when in America you had a contest between republicanism, true republicanism, progressivism under Woodrow Wilson, that was partisanship. But that necessarily didn't mean political parties. It is a concept. When you say somebody is a progressive, doesn't mean it belongs to a party. There are people who are progressive who do not do politics at all because they subscribe to progressive policies. My view, in the larger intellectual context, once any matter has more than one approach or one side to it, and you take one of the sides, it may be the most eminent, it may be the most prominent, that is a partisan approach. But that does not translate to political parties. So there is no way you would have survived this far in this struggle without being partisan. Partisan in favor of
I think that's
what you believe in.
That's an education.
There are people who also don't believe in that. They are partisan in whatever they believe in.
Thank you.
But that doesn't translate that you are necessarily an SDP or PDP or whatever.
Maybe I should say party politics.
You know, Dr.
Better.
Okay.
What we have just done now is to make radio deeper. That is why it is state affairs. Driving it down, triggering intellectual discourse, creating roads to redemption, building minds of those who are burned with beauty. Remember, the beautiful ones have been burned. They are here. They are here. They are not coming. They have come. All right. Victor Taiwo is the author of the book, Nigeria on Gunpowder, The Climax of Misrule. I recommend the book to you. He's the founder, Odua Redemption Alliance. It's an interesting book. On page 450, the author says, on Tuesday, June 13th, 1995, the Bashir Wali panel probing the May 30 violence was turned beyond words and action when 4 members of the fundamentalist group appeared before it and took responsibility for the brutal beheading of a trader. I don't want to put the tribe. Now, why did I read this? It's a book of history. Read it. Find it. The radio man is here. Remember, my analysis. I am not done with my thoughts. That the center cannot hold drives the people towards ethnic civilizations. And what do they do? They find succor in their identities. And they are defending their cultural identities and sometimes primordial biases. At the rate it is going, it's unmediated. If it's mediated, a viable option is ceding of meaningful operational autonomy to the groupings to seek out solutions to their problems by harnessing their distinctive powers to shape their aspirations. Is that what Victor Taiwo wants before he goes?
In a nutshell, I want liberation for my people, Yoruba people. And I want our country, I want our Yoruba nation, our independent, sovereign Yoruba nation to transform to a superpower country, one of the greatest countries in the world.
You are entitled to your dreams. Yes. Victor Taiwo,
yes.
Thank you for featuring on State Affairs.
God bless you.
Thank you for coming.
God bless you.
It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station.
Àríkẹ́ ojú rẹ̀ ṣe akọrẹ lọ báyìí.
Bọ̀dá wà sún ìwé fún mi lè oje, alọ́jà òya.
Ọjà àyà bíi ti bó, ó túmọ̀ sí pé ọmọ lo Mama ATM mọ́sọ̀bù rẹ nù.
Bọ̀dá wà sí ìwé dákun, ewu tún ni Mama ATM POS.
Mama ATM ní gbogbo ntajà tó ní sọ̀bù ń lò báyìí. Ìwọ wo sadé tó ní sọ̀bù nísàlẹ̀ ọjà lọ́hùn. Gbogbo gbala ń bára máa ń wo sọ̀bù rẹ̀ tọ́jà rẹ̀ sì ń yá kíákíá. Torí wípé ń lo Mama ATM POS. Ìyẹn nìkan kọ́, àwọn ń bára tó bá tó ara nǹkan lẹ́yìn dòdò ń sọ̀bù rẹ̀ àtúmọ̀ ara research card. Eléyìí tó tẹ̀ jáde lórí Mama ATM POS. Àwọn ń bára máa ń gbowó lórí Mama ATM POS machine. Wọ́n á tún fi owó sórí decoder DSTV, GoTV àti StarTime lọ́dọ̀ rẹ̀. Sọ ti wá mọ ìdí tí sọ́ọ̀bù sadé fi gba ìbúbọ̀ ládùúgbò báyìí tó sì jẹ́ pé kò sí mọ́wọ́ ní fún gbogbo ń bára rẹ̀. Ọ̀jẹ̀ yára tètè lọ gba Mama ATM POS. Káwọn ń bára rẹ̀ mọ ìyá ń kẹ̀tíkẹ̀tí.
Ó ní ṣe wá gba Mama ATM POS machine.
Kàn sí Mama ATM ní number 6A Ọ̀lànìyàn Fagbemi Street off Mobile bus stop lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ for the Live Center Ìyàgànkú GRA Ìbàdàn. Nílùú Èkó Suite 18 Aláùsá shopping mall Ìkẹjà 0809 950 0554. Mama ATM gba owó pẹ̀lú ìrọ̀rùn.
Tóyọ̀ ǹjẹ́ o ti. ilé nazareth ní tó ti ní damage tí kò sí pé bára kiri kankan mọ́ so o ti lose ilé o ti lose mọ́tò nìyẹn ilé ò move lọ anywhere at any time kan o tún lè fi lè ṣe another business mi tọ́jà kó tún lè mówó wọlé fún ẹ either kò fi rent àbí kó lọ fi bébí bóyá orí pé ibẹ̀ yẹn ti wà orí ilẹ̀ ibẹ̀ yẹn ti wà increase in price ó lè ta kó tún fi lọ wá local place mi tó tún máa tún ra tó tún lè build another house sí so ilé pè mí o ó sì wà important gan.
Hi guys, my name is Abibola Balogun and this is the city of Ibadan. 50 million naira to Nigeria. Of free tickets to UK, Kemalo, we can travel out of Nigeria.
Can go Nigeria.
You are a liar. UK man. Nigeria don't tire you. Now why you don't want us? You don't even give me attention.
Nigeria rọrùn ajé. Tí mo fẹ́ lọ bọ́ sí UK. Ẹ̀rọ tó máa ní àmọ̀ sí náà ni.
Ìgbọ́dọ̀ máa bọ́kadà.
Ìgbọ́kadà rẹ̀ ni ọ̀kadà sọ́kadà ní mọ̀ fún ti àrí. Àní òṣòwò àríró gbé àrí kankan sí.
Ẹ máa lọ UK láì.
Àjẹ́ máa ní mo lọ UK mo lọ UK àjẹ́. Ṣé fún mi lówó sí i?
Don't ask me that stupid question.
Ẹ fún mi lówó.
Kenny. You go find your way for you. Yes, sir. You don't say maybe your papa land.
Hey, doesn't.
Where na your papa land?
This day you follow my fatherland, eh? You don't tire yourself.
Oh.
Do you prefer a light-skinned girl or a dark-skinned girl?
It depends on what I like. I might see some features in a lady that is light, which might not be in the other lady might not have it, which is dark skin. So it depends.
Light. Wow.
I prefer light.
Why?
Light. Because if I eat anything light, I can be able to walk, but if anything, I will just sleep.
God of mercy.
I'm a pastor, you know how they call me. Sure, you understand? I am a pastor. The one God has given to me. My wife is a dark lady. Though I like light lady, I like anything that will make your eye to be shine like this. But you know, whatever God has given to you, just hold it like that.
Light skin guy because I'm black.
What's your name? Like you?
I like you.
Mo like ọmọ dúdú. Nígbà pé ọmọ dúdú àwọn sábà tí sickness tán bá sickness tí wọ́n tètè máa ń gbọ́. Àwọn ọmọ pupa wọ́n bá sickness wọn èdè
Merci, maman.
We are back on the street of Ibadan again, and it's usually fun to be on the street. And we are on the street to know if people still know the class of food we have, or we just eat whatever comes our way and we move. Let's see what they have to say. Generally, how many classes of food? Okay, how many classes of food do we have? Yes. Are you sure? How many classes of food do we have? Classes of
Drive him beyond his plots. In the Second Republic, when he was the governor of Oyo State from 1979 to 1983 on the platform of Awolowo's led Unity Party of Nigeria, he widened his base, establishing concretely the Bola Ige effect. Born on September 1930, born on 13 September 1930, his politics sets agenda for political reformation 20 years after his passage. What do you have to say about Bola Ige? What is the Bola Ige effect? Festus Adedayo, in an article entitled "Was Bola Ige's Murder Avoidable?" published on 26 December 2021, says, Bola Ige was not abashed about his Yorubaness and flaunted it supersedingly. Festus talks about epistemology and culture above orders. In his article, he says Bola Ige constructed an idealist theory about a welfarist and humanist society that would cater for the weak against the strong, one where survival of the fittest had no place. Dr. Festus Adedayo, it's good to have you on State Affairs.
It's a pleasure to be here. Good morning, Nigerians.
How did you define Bola Ige in these words? Idealist theory. What does that mean?
Yes. Once again, thank you for having me here. Bola Ige constructed an idealistic figure of a society, as I said in that piece many years ago, that will cater for the weak against the strong. He was a humanist, and the theory of humanism holds strongly that humanity had far more superseding relevance than any metaphysical or spiritual essence of man. He was pursuing that.
Who is a humanist?
A humanist, as the word says, believes in humanity ahead of other consideration. Some people hold on to the spiritual aspect of man, that, when you die, the spirit continues to live and all that. But the humanist believes that placed side by side, every other thing, humanity has a far more towering essence. And so the humanist goes after humanism, goes after humanity.
So what are the symbols of humanism?
Yes, so many symbols. Proponents like Martin Heidegger, Albert Camus, and all that. They believe that in terms of the things that, if you put them in hierarchies, what the joy of a human being, and you, of course, if you translate that into governance, education, you know, roads and all that, they are more important than its spiritual aspect.
If Bola Ige was a humanist, if Bola Ige was an idealist, does it mean he was utopian?
Yeah, who not? Well, you could say that he was utopian in some way.
He believed in things that were not real.
Well, at the end of the day, I'm sure with the benefit of hindsight now, for instance, there was a viral video recently where he was talking about, where he said in 2000 that Yoruba land, and also by extension, the whole of Nigeria was going to come into an El Dorado. He was addressing some people, and he said that the Egberes, that's the norms, the spirit, the people who have the Egbere spirit in Yoruba land or in Nigeria in totality, didn't believe that in the year 2000 AD, the Yoruba people were going to have a betterment in, you know, in virtually every department of their lives. But did it ever come to pass? He constructed...
But it might come to pass.
Well, but certainly not in 2000. He was alive in that 2000, and it never come to pass.
Oh.
So you could say he was an idealist.
Yes. Kola Ilori is here. Ilori is one of the newsmen that established the Tell. The magazine was on the fore of the campaign against the military dictatorship of Sani Abacha. Kola Ilori was a senior staff writer in Newswatch magazine. Kola Ilori, it's good to have you on State Affairs.
Thank you very much, Edmund, and Happy New Year.
We are talking about Bola Ige. He is no more. 20 years after his death, we are talking about him. What does that mean?
It means so many things. It means we are still drifting. It means that we have come to the reality that we have lost shame over the death of number one law officer of the country like Nigeria.
Did you say shame?
Yes.
Why shame?
In a sinner crime, could somebody like Uncle Bola have been killed?
JF Kennedy was killed. And that was in a sinner climb.
What do you say?
JF Kennedy was killed in a sinner climb, right?
Yes. But then, JFK's death was pursued to a large extent by the government.
So that was what makes it a sinner climb.
It makes it a sinner climb. Till today, nobody can say, look, this is the type of action the government has taken. Because it's a political assassination.
People were arrested.
Who was?
People were kept in detention.
We can tell that to the Marines.
Marines?
Yes, we can tell that to the Marines. We left the substance, we are chasing shadows. In a country where Anthony General was killed like a chicken, look at the trial. It was flawed from beginning to the end. A trial where a prosecution witness was put into the same cell with a star accused. Where is that done, Edmund? Anywhere in the world.
What's the implication of that?
It's so simple. The man was put there so that he might be able to identify that guy during a parade. Because it was good. Here is a trial. that featured a lawyer who tutored a so-called prosecution witness for 5 days under his care. That lawyer is in this government today. That lawyer is in this government today, a minister. What are we looking for? What type of country is this? And that's one of the reasons why I believe the frustration was so high, and it was that frustration that killed Mrs. Ige. Being a judge herself.
Mrs. Ige died after Bola Ige.
Yes. And we all know that. Now, let me give you another example. An AIG warned Mrs. Olowe, I still remember. Ojomo. God bless that woman, every step she took, she met a brick wall. When she was about to pounce on the culprits, what happened?
What happened?
The government arranged for this woman to go on a course she never applied for. Course not slated by the police for that year or the year after. And they packaged the old course, ESTA code, accommodation, all whatnot, in Britain, all within 48 hours. They gave no room for that woman to hand over or say anything on that report. She went, she came back, she was promoted, and is out of the force.
This is the analysis of a renowned journalist, right?
I'm telling you the truth. We have been in this business I've been in this business for over 40 years, and I will not come here to drop names or drop stories.
No.
We deployed everything we had in TEL. Everything we had in TEL, including the roles of all the executives, including myself, to pursue this matter. And we knew it couldn't have been this way if not for the involvement of the state. Remember what Abacha said before he died. If I wouldn't give him anything, I give that to him. He said when a crime is committed in a country and you couldn't find a lead within 21 days, the state is involved.
The state is involved.
And this is why I say to everybody, in a country where you find dogs killing lions, that's food for thought.
Dogs killing lions. Let's go back to Ayo Adebanjo. Here, Adebanjo says his killing had authority support.
You are going to another life, because if by the time he died, a lot of stories were being told. That was the leaders of the Afenifere that killed him. And the guy that has been funny. Those of us who are not in government, we now organize the assassination of somebody whom the government gave 6 security people. And instead of looking inwards at that time, if they did, they would have known who killed him. And that pained me. Those
who were the suspects?
Many people knew. Don't ask me that question on the radio. We are all in this country. Do
you feel he was eliminated so that somebody would capture the Southwest?
Whatever it is, we knew his killing has some authority support. And our own reason is this. How can the chief law officer of the country, with 6 security people attached to him, be killed the way Bola Ige was killed? Those who are talking about this, they don't want to say what injury we have. And the 6 people left the man we are killing to go and eat. My dear, you follow all these things, because people are just talking to settle your prejudice. And they still say, because he had disagreed with his leaders, those are people killing, I just laugh.
Did the leaders of Afenifere and AD see that tragedy coming?
Yes, because we knew Obasanjo didn't like him.
You knew?
Yes. And in fact, Desoya had information from somebody when I just said he was going to draw him near to knock him because like he says very serious things against Obasanjo before. Only people just don't know. And when he had that, by the time that it was too late for us to tell be careful, this is what we had this man say.
Remember, you can join us. We are streaming live on my pages on Facebook. Go on Edmund Obilo's pages on Facebook. You'll find the pictures of the story being told here this morning. Go on Splash FM page on Facebook. Join the conversation. What do you think? Dr. Yemi Farumbi, trying to unravel what has not been unraveled. Authority participation. State is involved, you know. I wonder how we can find answers to the complex questions. Can you help us?
Are we interested in answers?
Yes, that's why we're here.
If you study this type of killing, the kind of assassination, the gruesome one that Chibolagi had, I look at similar killings elsewhere. We talked about J.F. Kennedy now. Two things always come to my mind. In most countries, you have what I call the establishment. They may not be government. Establishment remove government. Establishment can assassinate people in government. So,
who are establishments? Do we have them in Nigeria?
Yes, we do.
Can you help us? You might not want to name them, but help us describe the structure.
In the past, we used to call them mafia. Suddenly, they are anamorphous people.
They are former leaders?
Sometimes they are not even leaders at all.
Are they businessmen?
Position, but they hold the nation. They decide the direction.
How do they do it?
When things are not happening the way they want, they know how to move in to terminate. I'm going to give you a few examples.
Okay.
By 1983, it became obvious to the establishment that the way the government was going, and given the increasing popularity of Awolowo and the progressive parties, they were going to win election. They knew that. They knew that the intellectuals, the radicals, the academics, the pro-rightist movement in the North were beginning to see something beautiful, something great in what these progressives stood for. So what did they do? They moved in to terminate the civilian regime.
Are you talking about the Buhari coup?
Yep.
But Buhari and Babangida were the brains behind the coup, or you are saying there were other people behind the scene?
They were instruments.
Perfect. Behind the scene.
Those who decide to kill somebody will not go into the bedroom with the gun.
To create a broader understanding, was it the establishment that brought Obasanjo back in 1999?
I'm going to establish that. The establishment realized that there was danger in Nigeria. That Awolowo, the best president we never had, never really governed. That MKO, who won the freest and fairest election, never governed. And they were worried that the Yorubas, the way they were going, without fighting, creating civil disobedience, organizing and federating, interrelating with other people in the East, in the South, that there was danger for Nigeria. Yes. So they started making things. The AD didn't meet the requirements to be registered as a party, but they were. And it was those who deep into the undercurrent knew that they were decided that a Yoruba man must be president if the Yoruba will participate in that transition. And they actively worked on Obasanjo. Obasanjo rejected, and if you talk to him, he will confirm it. And the establishment had to use the other presidents, the German Chancellor, the French President, the UK Prime Minister, past and present American President, to influence him. They had to arrange a thank you tour for him, for those people to put pressure on him.
Yes, before we leave...
Because they were decided. The establishment was decided.
Before we leave the establishment, was it the establishment that killed MKO?
Of course.
Of course. You remember American ambassadors came.
Yes.
American president had to also persuade Obasanjo to take the mantle.
I'm going to tell you something.
Tell me.
No foreigner can interfere in your affair unless they know it will receive popular support. They knew there had to be a counterbalance. Abacha, MKO, the irrepressible and the undefeatable. They removed the two of them like two wrestlers.
So the establishment took out Abacha too. Now this establishment, I'm beginning to know them. You are driving me somewhere, Dr. Farumbi. Now, this same establishment came again when Bola Ige died. Right?
That same establishment.
And when establishments act, you can't do nothing.
You cannot find. Even sometimes the government is helpless.
Establishment can be more powerful than the government?
They are more powerful than government. They install governments. Really, if the other one for them will have been they were kingmakers. They take a look at the situation. When we started the talk about doctrine of necessity in this country, you think it was government? It was the establishment at work. They have a manipulative capacity.
But the establishment can be displaced at some point.
Yes.
By a new establishment.
Of course. I mean, that would be the dialectic theory. A thesis and an antithesis. They will form a synthesis. The synthesis will become a new thesis. And there'll be another antithesis. Yes, it is. You can have a dialectic movement.
So,
it does happen.
Await a new establishment for redemption.
Yes, you need one.
It will come.
If I will quote what Obasanjo once said in his famous Jaji speech when he was military head of state, he said, unless there is a sharp break with the past, you are not likely to be able to move Nigeria forward. I'm quoting him.
Dr. Yemi Farumbi is Nigeria's former ambassador to the Philippines. Adedayo in his article says, it's in the interest of government to unravel the knot of Ige's assassination 20 years after. Ige's and thousands of unjustly spilled blood are crying for vengeance, he says. In the article, Adedayo writes that right from the time of creation till now, the corrosive spiritual implication of unjustly shed blood has always been evident. The blood of the biblical Abel, for instance, was on its prowl and never rested until it got justice. He continues, perhaps the socio-political bedlam and leadership miasma that Nigeria currently finds herself are a reflection of the numerous unjustly spilled blood in the lands seeking vengeance. Dr. Festus Adedayo is the author of the book Ayinla Omowura, Life and Times of an Akbala Legend. Blood seeking vengeance. I thought blood is liquid. They don't talk.
If you go into research on occultic practices, you will find out the significance of blood. In some killings, there was a piece I wrote recently where I was trying to dissect the killing of that young man in Ife, who died in a hotel in Ife.
Timothy?
Yes, Timothy Adegoke. And I said that, look, I looked at the report of the autopsy. We said that, yes, they couldn't find any violence on his body, except a place at his femur where they said there was violence too. And I remember writing in that piece that, did it occur to the people who concluded that he wasn't killed for ritual, that blood, perhaps blood, was taken out of that exit, that part of his body? And I remember in that same piece, I reported the story. No, I brought back the story of a woman who was killed in Ado-Ekiti in 2017. She was killed in her house, and our assailants, the major thing they did was to take her blood. They didn't touch any part of her body. And that blood was used for rituals. If you go to ancient practices, I don't want to talk about allegations of Ogboni practices and all that. Blood, even if they wanted to encode allegiance to the code of a cult, blood is spilled from the initiates.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one donates his blood, the other donates his blood, is stirred together, and they drink it. So it tells you that blood goes beyond the liquid presentation.
That they drink it doesn't mean anything?
So if it didn't mean anything, why did they drink it? And it's an ancient practice. And unless you are saying that our forefathers who practiced this were ignorant, and I don't think they were ignorant. These were the same people who were, reputed to have, done great things in terms of formation of society and all that.
Mm.
So they weren't fools. They were more scientific and spiritual than us.
So
what I'm saying in essence is that, and it was also confirmed in the Bible, which you just, the Cain and Abel story. The Bible says that the blood of Abel was crying and seeking vengeance. And in the Nigerian situation, how many people can you talk about whose blood have been spilled unjustly? If blood cries for vengeance, then we can say that what we are going through in Nigeria, that you cannot correlate what is happening. This is a land of plenty, and people are suffering. The worst of us rule over the best of us. It's not done in societies. I cited an example of one young boy who was killed over 20 years ago in the UK, whose torso was found in River Thames. The Metropolitan Police named him, for want of evidence, evidence, yes, they named him Boy Adams. They found some insignia of some spiritualists on his body, just the torso. They couldn't find any other part of his body. My brother, till now, 20-something years after, the Metropolitan Police is still, they have invested millions of pounds to find out the actual perpetrators. They went to Southern Africa to the Muti killing, because they said the killing looked like the Muti killing in South Africa. They went to Benin Republic. They went to Benin here. They've invested millions of pounds. You think they are fools? Because they know that the more that unjustly shed blood continues to linger, then there is a spiritual effect on their society. But we are not bothered as a people, and we are not investigating the nexus.
And we spill more blood.
And we spill by the day.
Adedayo takes me to this short piece of mine. The stories of ritualists hunting down friends, relations, and strangers for money-making purposes show how dark and dreary the condition has become. That the actions are taking more lives calls to question the values that define the cravings of the moment. Using human being for any form of ritual is brutish. It's the worst savagery. Societies that set the conditions that encourage the practice are strangled by impunity. If leaders, whether political, religious, or traditional, are collaborators, such a people are dispensed with by a desperate wind of violence. Also heinous is the action of the mob that sets the suspect ablaze. By this, the raging mobsters show that their appetite for blood and misery is unquenchable by their experiences. Such persons are indoctrinated into sustainable experiences, or they will destroy the land. To attain progress, the conditions and structures that promote hate and rituals are replaced by love, justice, and education. This revival is led by persons of honor, for they lead to redeem. State Affairs on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. We are talking politics and power. We are discussing socio-cultural matters. And Bola Ige is in the picture. Kola Ilori is here. Dr. Yemi Farumbi is here. And Dr. Festus Adedayo is here. You want to read about Bola Ige? You want to read about Yoruba elites and ethnic politics in Nigeria? Read this book by Professor Wale Adebanwi entitled Yoruba Elites and Ethnic Politics in Nigeria, Obafemi Awolowo and Corporate Agency. No, he talks about agency. He talks about structures. You need to read this book. And in this book is the story of Bola Ige. When was the last time you read a book? I have another book here entitled Bola Ige, The Passage of a Modern Cicero. Find it, read it. Different subjects on Bola Ige. One of the titles read, Finally, Cicero Goes Back to Esaoke, written by Yemi Ogumbi. Wole Soyinka wrote a piece here, The Passage of a Hero, a tribute. Who is Afraid of Bola Ige, written by Matthew Mukoro. The book is entitled Bola Ige, The Passage of a Modern Cicero. We'll be back after this break. Don't go away. Okay, let's break it down. Did Bola Ige miscalculate by joining Obasanjo's government? Was Bola Ige too angry that he reacted fiercely and he paid the price? Remember, there is the Ijebu Four, and Ayo Adebanjo is one of them. Olaniwa Ajayi is no more. Baba Adesoya is no more. So Ayo Adebanjo speaks for them. All right.
When he got there, he now started to work against the party to divide us. Many of us whom we know what time we had, we are not happy that he joined Obasanjo's government because we knew what we had said against Obasanjo and what he, in particular, has said against Obasanjo. And we know Obasanjo is not forgiving.
Chief Adebanjo, do you feel at this moment that Ige decided to join that government in order to spite us?
Yeah, of course, that is it. Not that what I feel.
Kolai Lori, you heard Obasanjo, you heard Ayo Adebanjo there.
Yes.
Why did Bola Ige join the government? He loved young persons like you.
Yes. Yes.
He was your mentor.
Yeah.
Why did Bola Ige join the Obasanjo government?
Well, you see, it's easy for people, with due respect to Papa Adebanjo, it's easy to push narratives like this to the public after the demise of Uncle Bola. One thing I know very well is that Uncle Bola has been long-time friend of Obasanjo. Long-time friend of Obasanjo. Before the crisis within the Afenifere AD. And I'm privileged this morning to be on this program where my guy is sitting here, person of Ambassador Yemi Farombi, whom I can say with certainty that he knows more than any of us here when it comes to the issue of Bola Ige, AD, Afenifere, Obasanjo itself. Is an authority. But be that as it may, from the fringes, I will want him to comment on that later. But I can tell you one thing. Whatever Baba might have said, personally, as far as I'm concerned, is an afterthought. We know what happens.
What happened?
I was a witness to a meeting we sponsored, Alajobi, a group we sponsored at Ijebu,
the home of Abraham Adesoya.
We knew things were not going on well. Were not going well within the caucus, and we approached Baba Adesoya. Baba, things cannot continue this way. We want a peace meeting. Say, my children, I'm not opposed to it. Do whatever you can and bring everybody together. We did. It was a stormy session at Ijebu.
What makes it stormy?
Ayo Adembanjo was there. Papa Laniu was there. Baba Desanya was there. Uncle Bola was there. And we asked these elders, what is the matter?
You were asking?
We asked them.
What did they say?
And Baba Desanya said, well, let each person make his case. The most vitriolic I've never seen in my life was Pade Banjo.
What is vitriolic?
The way he took matters, the way he attacked Uncle Bola Ige at that meeting.
Is that not his nature?
I wouldn't know. He's older than me. I wouldn't know.
Did Bola Ige fight back?
He kept quiet. He sucked everything in for almost 1.5 hours.
So it wasn't stormy?
He didn't say anything. He took everything in.
He was just watching?
He watching, taking notes. All the points read Baba.
Why was Adebanjo angry with him? What did he say?
Well, if I may reduce it to a few words, it was clear to all of us that Pa Adebanjo couldn't stand Uncle Bola Ige.
Why?
We wouldn't know.
You couldn't stand him?
He couldn't stand him. And he believed, from the little we could read, you could see Tracy's allegation of arrogance.
That Bola Ige is arrogant?
Arrogant, proud, talks, behaves as if he's the only one who can talk. He looks and he treats colleagues with
disdain,
condescendingly, just things like that, you know. And when Ige rose, he was on his feet for 2.5 hours.
Saying what?
Taking every accusation one by one, demolishing it.
He demolished the accusations?
One by one.
Why did he join the Obasanjo government?
I would not believe he joined Obasanjo government just like that without consulting people.
He did not consult them?
I said I would not believe so.
Aja Adebanjo said he did not consult them. It was at a point Pa Alayode had to persuade Bola Ige to go and meet his leaders. By that time, he had accepted to be a minister in Obasanjo's government. According to Adebanjo in his book, it was Sam Aluko that even whispered to them in Abuja, hey, you are coming here to fight a court battle against the PDP when one of your leaders have already accepted to be a minister in the government.
That aspect, I wouldn't know. This is why I would crave the indulgence that we allow Dr. Dr. Farumbi to say a word or two.
Dr. Farumbi, please come in.
In the earlier segment, I established to you and to our listeners that even within the Awu family, before Papa Awolowo died, there were two strands competing, hopefully for succession.
That should be healthy.
It ought to be healthy. And a lot of them believe that Bola Ige was arrogant, proud.
Was he?
Of course not. It is true he doesn't suffer fools gladly. It is true he doesn't tolerate mediocrity.
He has acidic tongue.
I think they couldn't stand it.
He has acidic tongue.
Because Professor Adedayo experienced it.
Yeah. I can say this.
Okay.
That the one good thing about him, he enjoys a good argument.
Yes.
And if you can let him see superiority in wealth and the point you hold on to, he will bow down.
He will embrace it.
No matter how young you are. We have very young people walking around him, and we will argue. I will tell him, Uncle Bola, what you've done is wrong. It's not. Now, but let's leave that. When Obasanjo won election, I told you that Obasanjo is a product of the establishment. And the establishment was worried about the Yorubas. And they have seen that, of course, the South never voted for him. But they wanted the Southwest Incorporated. So Obasanjo, I believe, with the push of the establishment, started trying to see if he can put a government of national unity, which involved all the parties. It wasn't only Bola Ige who sat. Ibrahim Adesoya's daughter was a minister.
Ibrahim Adesoya rejected. He was angry with his daughter, and he was angry with Bola Ige for luring the lady into the government.
That's what you were told.
You what I know. And I know that a one-time chairman of AD, Mama Yusuf, who worked with me in NTA, became an ambassador.
Ayo Adebanjo said he was planted in the AD to destroy it.
Who planted him?
Obasanjo.
Was Obasanjo around when they made him chairman of the party?
Yes, by the time Obasanjo came, he began to use him, and that was when the plot to destroy AD started.
There had been no elections when Yusuf was their chairman.
No.
There had been no election.
How come?
They elected him.
They said he came from nowhere.
Whether he came from nowhere or no, but they made him the chairman, the national chairman of the AD. Obasanjo was in PDP. How can you hold Obasanjo responsible for a man you made your own chairman?
Through your own election.
Through your own, whatever system you use. And he became an ambassador in Spain. The man who succeeded him, Abu Bakr or something like that.
Abdul Qadir.
Because Obasanjo called the three chairmen of the party, the PDP, the APP, and asked them, a critical problem we have is this constitution. Go and work the way they worked in 1963 to produce the 1963 Republican Constitution. Can the three parties work together? And they did. Before he set up Jerry Gana's committee that went around all the zones to look at this constitution, they all did. Tokubo Awolowo Odosunmu became an ambassador. Akintola's daughter became,
son
became an ambassador. And they did it across the country like that because they wanted to integrate. So it is easy because the man is not allowed to defend himself to say that he became minister because he wanted to fight them. I can say that small as I am, I was one of those people that Bola Ige consulted. He called us with the young ones who believe in him.
And what did you tell him?
And we told him, there are views you hold, and you hold very strongly, that can alter this country. We cannot be sacrificing our progress on the altar of petty jealousies. A lot of people forget that OBJ says it, that he owes his life to Bola Ige. Because during the Abacha incarceration, he would have been killed.
It was Bola Ige that leaked an information to him.
So there are overlapping.
So he didn't join Obasanjo to spite Afenifere?
Absolutely not.
To destroy AD?
As a matter of fact, he was asked to name his own ministry, where he thinks he could make a change.
But he was not allowed to work in that ministry.
I will tell you this. He was more interested in the rural electrification. And these are verifiable facts. And he did an agenda, an implementation plan. You can ask Ulu Aginoye, who was his
special
assistant. For the transformation of the energy situation in this country within 18 to 36 months. It is doable. It has been done in Philippines. Fidel Ramos did it in 4 years. It's only in this country that they tell you cannot build a power plant. When I was in Manila, the Smirara coal plant, 145 kVA by 2, were built in 21 months. So what he was saying was doable. And he did a presentation that marveled the Executive Council. They gave him a standing ovation. They are there, they can't deny it. But Obasanjo said there will be need for him to present this to regional groups, meet the northern traditional rulers, the west, and so on. And he met the northern ones.
What happened?
He made a presentation, and you know he speaks flawless Hausa.
Yeah.
That the people never knew. Their perception of Anige is a man of violence. A man who hates. Who hated the Northerners. Sometimes it's difficult for me to think he's dead. So when he made this presentation, flawless Hausa, pronunciation of towns and so on. All the emirs, including the Sultan, the Emir of Kano, the Shehu of Borno, all of them got up and gave him a standing ovation. They couldn't believe it.
So what happened?
They said, so is this Ige that we've all hated? Sometimes I think that was when the establishment started its work.
Yes. Became scared of his ideals, his industry.
Just as they were scared that the progressive were getting too popular in 83.
Okay.
Sometimes I think so. It's my own hypothesis.
Okay.
So when people now come and say he did it, he joined the government because he wants to fight Afenifere. That's something that B.C. Akade said in his book, that this present movement of Afenifere was funded by Ike. And that is the truth, because I was there.
This present movement? But he did not form Afenifere.
Just a minute. When the Action Group was formed, it was called Egbe Afenifere. Then the Action Group was proscribed in 1966. When the UPN was formed in 1978, it was called Egbe Imole. Not Egbe Afenifere. Nobody talked about Afenifere. In the 4 years between 78 and 83, nobody. When IBB started this political shenanigans of succession, and it appeared that MKO was getting interested, so he invited 18 of us into his Bodija house. I was there. And said, we must begin to think of a Yoruba position, particularly those of us who are identified and who have been identified with Awolowo, particularly now that we can see that MKO is interested. I met 1, 2, 3, and then we decided, what shall we call it? We called it Afenifere. And this Bolaige now said, let's take this meeting to Owo. Before they think that he's trying.
Owo is to go and see Ajasin?
Yes. And he went. And they moved the meeting to Owo. And it is on record, because I told him I don't agree. And I never attended the meeting since then.
All right. We'll be back after this break. Don't go away.
No, I like that kind of thing. Take me anywhere I will go.
Rejoice Place Supermarket. Ilé ìtajà ìgbàlódé tẹ́ ẹ ti lè rí ohunkóhun tẹ́ ẹ bá ń fẹ́ rà. Láìsí wàhálà tàbí pákáleke ti dùnnú ti fọkànbalẹ̀ làwọn èèyàn fi ń ná Rejoice Place Supermarket. Torí pé kò sóhun tí wọ́n wá débẹ̀ tí wọ́n rí. Oríṣiríṣi daily needs bíi beverages, toiletries, packaged imported and local foods. Ìyẹn àwọn oúnjẹ ilẹ̀ yá àti tòkè òkun tí wọ́n ti ṣe lọ́jọ̀. Ohun mímu ẹlẹ́rìndòdò lóníranran tó fi mọ́ imported wines lóríṣiríṣi. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni àtèyí tẹ̀ rò lọ́kàn yẹn gan. Ìrọ̀rùn lọ́jà wọn, owó wọn ò sì gunpá. Tẹ̀ríntọ̀ yàyà
ọ̀yàyà ni wọ́n fi máa dá yín lóhùn láàyè tó rọjú ẹ kàn sí Rejoice Place Supermarket lẹ́nìí ní 42 Liberty Road by Bọ́láìgè bus stop adjacent DB filling station Òkè Àdó Ìbàdàn. Ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ 081-8715-4256 tàbí 090-9888-0153. Wọ́n wà lórí àwọn ìkànnì ìbánidọ́rẹ̀ẹ́ at Rejoice Place Supermarket. Rejoice Place Supermarket òǹtajà pàdé òǹrajà gẹ́gẹ́ ṣe gẹ́gẹ́.
The number you've called is not available at the moment.
Oh my God. This trader where I pay for maize since last 2 weeks. Till now, maize I never see. Even the truck driver, I never see. And both their number no dey available. Which kind of thing be this now?
Oga Benji, should I tell you make you buy from FX you no gree? You say you trust your trader. See now, me, the maize and soybeans where I buy for my poultry feed. Now waiting my birds they chop since. See as them the fresh, they fat.
Chai, yeah, checking out. If say I know, I will follow you that day. Oh.
You never late oh. Just sharp download the Comex app.
Comex waiting.
Comex app, COM with capital letter X from your app store. Make you start to buy correct maize and soybeans for your poultry feed. The best part be say, even if you no get money, FX go give you loan to do your poultry business easy. Yes, so just download the Comex app now or call 090-3000-1333 to get more kulele information.
Now, I go download them. Comex, I don't sabi wait.
Are you in need of a nice and comfortable, fully furnished hostel accommodation in the University of Ibadan? Or are you in search of a place for seminars and executive trainings? Look no further. Adebayo Akonde Hall is the go-to place for your lodging needs with a home away from home feel. Adebayo Akonde Hall is a 4-star hostel built in a serene environment with constant supply of electricity. It has fully furnished rooms that gives you great comfort at an affordable price. Adebayo Akonde Hall is located at Ajibode Extension, University of Ibadan. For inquiries and reservations, visit www.adebayohall.com or call 080-5699-8718 or 080-5699-8719 or 080-5699-8720. Adebayo Akonde Hall. Built for comfort. Built for you.
Oh yeah, rock your body. Everybody jolly. Dance here for the matter. Spread the love for the area. Share the joy with golden penny. Yeah. Celebrate with golden penny. Yeah. Oh yeah, Auntie Shade, Auntie Uncle Jaye. Everybody they jolly. Now golden penny for the family. Oh Baba, it's the season of love. Oh baby, it's the season of togetherness.
Season's greetings from Flour Mills of Nigeria PLC, owners of the iconic food brand Golden Penny.
Tóyọ̀, ǹjẹ́ o ti gbọ́?
Pé kí ni o bá dérò?
Pé ṣé ìgbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́ ti gbọ̀nà ọ̀nà àrà yọ?
Jọ̀ọ́jà mi sì kí n rí gbọ́.
Jẹ́njà ẹ̀tàn àǹfààní àìlẹ́gbẹ́ ni Splash FM Media Academy gbé kalẹ̀ fún gbogbo olùgbé ìlú Ìbàdàn àti agbègbè rẹ̀. Kí ló ti gbọ́? Láti di akọ́ṣẹ́mọṣẹ́ oníròyìn tó perégedé ní ìbámu pẹ̀lú ìlànà ìgbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́ òde òní yálà lórí rédíò tàbí ayélujára. Àwọn akọ́ṣẹ́mọṣẹ́ olùkọ́ni tí wọ́n mọ̀ ti fún tẹ̀dọ̀ iṣẹ́ ìgbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́ wà níkàlẹ̀ láti tọ́ ọ sọ́nà tí ó tọ́ lórí onírúurú ẹ̀kọ́ bíi program development, journalism, digital media, production, news presentation. Wo mélòó ni mo fẹ́ kà? OPG ó pọ̀ gan-an.
Mo rí ọ̀nà.
Tóyọ̀, ibo ló ń sáré lọ?
Àròjọ́ Mùsùlùkùn mo ń lọ ṣe ìforúkọsílẹ̀ tèmi nìyẹn.
Tó bá rí bẹ́ẹ̀, lọ sí Splash FM Media Academy tí ó fẹ́ gbẹ́kẹ̀gbẹ́ pẹ̀lú Splash 105.5 FM ilé funfun Báláwú Fẹ́lẹ́lẹ̀ nílẹ̀ Ìbàdàn láti gba fọ́ọ̀mù tirẹ̀ tàbí kí o pe ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ yìí 070-5439-3332. Splash FM Media Academy ìdáàbòbò ìwà ọmọlúwàbí nínú ètò ìgbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́.
Festus Adidayo, I want us to listen to Ayo Adebanjo here and you break it down.
Okay.
Let's go.
And Papa Laonde was asking us that we should support. I said, well, We can only support him if he says he believes that the party exists and takes permission. Then now he says to come and tell us that he has been appointed.
So did he do that?
He came later on after I said he has been appointed, and I said I didn't like my feelings. If Obasanjo wanted to form a coalition or what you call it at that time, I will not choose Bola to him at that cabinet.
You made that statement?
Oh yes, they know. I tell you, you see, that's why I say when people talk, they don't know what the member of the party knew. Because I tell you, when people ask me, say, what right has Obasanjo to come and tell another party this is the man must be? If it is the all parties want to form, it is that party we give a candidate. So all I'm saying is, my own reasoning now is what I want people to criticize, not what people should be.
Who would you have nominated?
Eh?
Who would you have nominated?
Oh, I would nominate the lesser person because I consider the cabinet of Obasanjo at that time as third class.
So Bola was too big for that cabinet?
Too big for that.
So you feel he belittled himself?
Yeah, one, not only that, he was going to lend credibility to Obasanjo's government. I said, if that cabinet is equipment there, those are that is your class. I don't want to embarrass anybody. Who are the people formed? You know who formed the cabinet of Obasanjo at that time. I did the caliber of Bola. And my own view is that the way we were, I said at that time, if we hold ourselves strong like that, Obasanjo's government won't last 6 months.
So do you blame Bola?
I blame Bola for weakening our stand to support that opponent.
And they never recovered?
Of course.
Dr. Adidayo, what do you think?
Yeah, you know there was a no-love-lost relationship between Chief Bola and some lieutenants of Chief Obafemi Awolowo, mentioned by Egmon the other time. The Ayo Adebanjo was the arrowhead, Baba Lanium, even to a large extent Baba Adesanya. Yeah. They couldn't stand him. Some people have tried to explain the reason for that kind of disposition. Some said perhaps because Bola didn't come from Ijebu. There was an allegation that it was the Ijebu mafia that was running Yoruba land at that time. It came from the interland, from Esauke, a village in Oyo State. So, and as you also said, people felt that it was arrogant. Bola didn't suffer fools gladly. In fact, at some point, I think I read in his column where he said he brought back to our attention that Yoruba word that we shouldn't, because we wanted to eat beef, call cow brother. So he was audacious. He was anti the people who grouped themselves together to underscore their elitism. And so you remember that, I've forgotten where that, you remember when he was governor and SM Afolabi was his deputy. The accusation against the two of them was that they were obnobbing with the enemy of the UPN, and that was Obasanjo.
Yes.
And where was the trial?
Jos.
I think Yola. Sorry,
No, Yola.
it held in Yola.
No, the night of the long knives.
The night of the long knives. Remember the book you just told us about, Professor Wale Adebanjo's book. You remember what? I can't remember whether it was Papa Adebanjo or Olani who told Professor Adebanjo that Awolowo disdained Bola, and that in fact the writer told us that one of them said, Awolowo said, leave Bola alone. Something like prophesying his death or the calamity that will attend. Of course, nobody could cross-check that statement. So what I'm trying to say is that Papa Adebanjo never hid his disdain or dislike for Bola Ige. And I'll be surprised if he changes it now.
He said that is misconception.
About even...
He said he was only blunt.
Who was
he could
blunt?
speak his mind to Ige.
About,
on the grounds of principle.
Yeah, but we can also subject that bluntness to scrutiny. You can see that it's an age-old animosity.
But as a political strategist,
yeah,
did Ige manage them well?
Perhaps he should have managed them better. He probably he had some information that we never had. He also probably never took kindly to the fact that, look, he had contested elections over time. These people never contested any election. So how dare they, subject his politics to their scrutiny, their world?
So they taught him a lesson.
Yeah,
the D-Rovans, primarily, they taught him a lesson.
You see, the major problem that the major drawback of Chief Bola Ige's worldview or his politics was that he believed so much that perhaps because the way he was loyal to people, he felt that loyalty would be reciprocal. For instance, he traveled abroad during the D-Rovers. He believed that Yoruba people, that could they place him beside quote and unquote now, a neophyte, a political neophyte, like Falai. And Yoruba people would abandon Bola Ige to pick Olufalaye. He felt that it was
impossible.
It was impossible.
So he traveled.
And that same thing happened if you read this book, if you read this Bola Ige, The Passage of a Border Cicero, there was a particular, I think it was, who gave us that, who wrote that when the 1983 election was about to be held, some of his lieutenants came to him and said that, look, there was a plan to rig you out. He said, Yoruba people will roast their balls if anybody tried that.
So they rigged him out.
But they succeeded. And by the time he realized that Yoruba people, and he even said that Yoruba people will carry placard, they will do that. Yes, they carried placard, but it was a feeble one.
So he did not take that lesson to 1999. He did not.
And then I always tell people as well that Bola Ige, apart from the fact that he was too trusting, he also didn't watch his back. He believed that nobody would dare try to eliminate him. In fact, I was listening to this Yusuf Olatunji's song recently, where he sang, "Oh yeah, ta bounce le eni lo. Oh yeah, ka fura bi a bounce le eni lo." That when you're seeing off your concubine, you should be watchful. I suspect that Bola Ige was not watchful enough. He oscillated. He was in a world where he felt that he was too. He loved his people so much.
Remember,
he was contributing so much,
and he was called a Cicero.
Yes, he was called a Cicero.
He was praised.
Yes,
the Bola Ige effect.
Yeah,
that was certainly going to run in his head.
Yes, it apparently did. But he was also human, and he fell to, all the traits, all the foibles of humanity.
Kola Ilori, some would say on the day he was killed, if he's a kind of politician of today, there will be boys in the compound making noise. You can't just penetrate, but the policemen disappeared and nobody was on the compound to see what happened.
And then that's why it's important to recall what happened when when the remains was brought to the stadium. Remember? Uncle Wally said, "Bola."
Shrinka here?
Yes.
All right.
Bola, your killers are here.
Yes, that was his first statement.
But he did not tell us. He only said they are there.
Said they are here.
He said they are here.
He should have pointed.
And they are there. Oh God, do you hear Edmund? He said they should have pointed there.
And there was a mischievous camera. I think NTA's mischievous camera.
You got it.
Yes. Pointed the camera when immediately Shoyinka said, make no mistake about it. The killers are here. The cameraman pointed his camera or a camera to the supposed killer.
Okay. Let's open the phone lines. 080 915 51055. 080 569 98678. Remember, you can watch us on Facebook. Go on Edmund Obilo's page. Go on State Affairs page. And you can watch us on Splash FM page. Another number to call is 07069493000. So join the dialogue. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Edmund. This is Motade Peter.
Or Motade Peter.
Compliment of the season to all Nigerians and to our Babas there that is doing justice to the topic of today. Yeah, I wrote in what you posted about Okubola. I would like to read what I wrote there, my response, my comment. I wrote, who killed Ige? Who killed Okubola? Who killed the Cicero? Were they the unknown gunmen of their time? The Attorney General of the Federation was assassinated in that manner, in his house in Bodija. That could only take place in a barbaric state. But wait, are we barbarians? No, we are not. He a gargantuan political gladiator. He died as an hero, and he was buried like a king. You live on, the Cicero of our time. Yeah, that was my comment. Ige was a man I loved so much when I was very, very young. I think I just barely finished secondary school when he was a kid. And I could remember that fateful morning, a cousin of mine rushed because I went for all-night carol in the church, came to meet me, wake me up. Brother, you that talked about politics, one of you have been killed. And I was wondering who could it be. I was shocked, I was down when I realized it was Uncle Bola. And few weeks or thereabout after that, in the same room where I was, my house then in Ondo, I was on the night, I had a dream overnight. It was very weak. It was lying down on my bed. The bed I was sleeping on that night. I was sleeping in a chair beside my reading table. And he spoke for hours. He was very sick, very weak. He was speaking. But when I woke up, I couldn't comprehend the language he was speaking about. I try. Later I discussed some people that said, probably because I loved him. Probably that was the reason he came and shared his soul with me. But I couldn't comprehend. I think he was speaking the language of the beyond, the great beyond. Thank you very much. Have a lovely day. I wish all Nigeria a fruitful year.
Thank you, Motade Peter. The lines are open. Join the dialogue. Hello. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, Edward.
Yes, good morning.
Hello?
I can hear you.
Hello? Good morning, Mother Peter.
Yes, we can hear you, but you're faint. I can hear you clearly. Okay, can we take the next call? Okay, sorry about that. Join the conversation here. The numbers to call, 080-569 98678, 070-694 93000. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Happy New Year, sir.
Hello, Glorious.
Yeah, this is Glorious from Ibadan.
All right, hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, as we have the establishment, what happened to us that we don't have the establishment which will be positive? Why are we having the negative? Thank you.
Form the positive. Who are you waiting for? Create your own establishment and make things right. Hello, the lines are open. Call the radio station 07069493000. Good morning. Hello. All right. Good morning.
Good Edmund.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. Compliment of the people. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. Hit the nail on the head.
After some years, 21 years of it, I think 21 or 30 years ago, you have not discovered who responsible for the death of Anthony General of Nigeria. A great leader like Bolaige was killed at Bodija, like just like a chicken. Quite unfortunate. I was counting the achievements of Bolaige, which I knew this morning. This was the first ever state television in Nigeria, radio FM, FM, and some secondary school. What about your teaching hospital and so on? I'm just mention, but few. Edmund, please let me round up by asking you that what's the meaning of the zero that was used to describe Uncle Bola. Thank you very much. May you live long.
All right.
Regards to all your friends over there.
Thank you. There's a philosopher here. If you read his article, you know, Dr. Adedayo, the way you went to Rome, can you briefly help him?
Yes, there used to be great orators in Rome and Greece of the time. Marcus Tullius Cicero, though Uncle Bola taught us that word was not Cicero, it was Cicero. So there was Marcus Tullius Cicero, a great Roman orator, politician, lawyer, who died a very ghastly death, just like Bolaige died too. And there was also a Greece politician, orator, lawyer called Demosthenes, who also, though he died by poisoning himself, but if you want to weigh the dastardliness of their passages, you will say that of Cicero was because he was beheaded, and when they beheaded him, they took his head and I think his hand to Antony. Antony was his name, his major enemy. And so I remember arguing in my piece that yes, Bolaige had traits of Cicero, also had of Demosthenes, but he probably, if he had chosen the sobriquet of Demosthenes, perhaps he wouldn't have died the way he died. Remember that it was this her boss's name in Guardian, who gave him the Stanley Makebu, who gave him that there was a Cicero of Sauke. It was, if you ever listen to Bolaige speak, you'll be wowed, has to say. He was deep, and people have also not taken time to know the pedigree of Bolaige. If people read, they will know that all that he did was in line with his familial pedigree. If you heard the story of his grandmother, if you read the book Kaduna Boy, his grandmother named Ajayi, when he was betrothed to a young man by her father to marry, and the lady said, "No, I'm not going to marry that." As a recompense, they took her to the market square, stripped her almost naked, and they poured water into a mortar and said she must be pounding that water, and that water must not fall on the ground. And the woman, from morning till evening, she was pounding that water, and she never changed her mind.
Bolaige told that story in Kaduna Boy.
Yes, in Kaduna Boy.
You need to read that book by Bolaige.
And so you see that it came from a family, a pedigree of resistance. And so when he saw that he was resisting authority, was resisting evil, he was acting true to type.
Dr. Farumbi, Ige was able to influence 80 governors to follow him. Only Adefarati was with Afenifere, or Afenifere will say 1.5 governors were with them. Shegun Oshoba is the half. But Bola Ige had Tinubu on his side. By land, Tinubu did not even vote for him at the Congress.
No, he didn't.
At 0 vands. He had Lam Adesina on his side. Who again? Oshun on his side. How did that redefine Yoruba politics?
Allow me to just make a brief comment.
All right.
When Stanley Makebu came with the name Kikero of SRP, I happened to be the image maker of Bola Ige. So Shifaulo called us and said he didn't want us to call him Kikero. We should use the Greek Demosthenes. That he didn't like the way Kikero died. Unless that was what we wanted.
Awolowo said that.
Yes, he did. But the truth was that Kikero was more known than Demosthenes. And with the powerful medium of Guardian behind it, it was difficult to change it.
Awolowo was right.
Well, I think it was right.
From what we know now.
It was right.
So there's something in your name.
I think there is something in the name, just like there's something in the blood. The other thing I also want to say is that a lot of people don't understand Ige. Ige is very complicated. One is a Marxist, but he was a deep Christian. Those two don't work together.
He didn't play occultic actions?
He didn't.
Or you don't know?
I know he didn't.
You know he didn't?
Because I could walk into his room, whether he was sleeping, whether he was
Perhaps
naked.
he wasn't playing it in his room. Sometimes you play it in the air.
Let me say this. This man was, when he was not 27, he was the Secretary General of the worldwide student Christian movement. He was deeply involved in Christianity. And he was a Marxist. 61 years ago, the Sentence Church there in Monditi was one of the founders. So there were values that really you couldn't place together. And that culminated in what Dr. Adida has called humanism. So it's so difficult. I mean, I read comments on his latest video that is going viral, and I laugh. Because people don't understand him. They say he was talking of it. They thought he was talking of a Yoruba Republic. He was talking of freedom for the people, freedom. And he said that whatever was affecting the Yoruba was affecting the others.
Yes.
As a matter of fact,
He's this bus.
Jesus is Lord.
Chai! What's the newspaper, Akara? Akara. Ah. So yeah.
It's a beautiful, beautiful afternoon from the brown roof city of Ibadan, and my name is Setonji Stephen. I know you can't wait to see this video, man. You are going to enjoy this another episode of The Street Vox Pop on Splash TV. Have you sent a lady transport fare and she did not come?
Sure. Even I can't even count so many times.
Can reach intellectually. A man will not say Ogasopi. It doesn't live by directives. We live by consensual agreement. But there is one thing I want to leave with you.
Please do.
LK Jakande was very popular. It was Baba Kekere. But these people also massacred him. Because he became a minister of works and housing, to which they all agreed when they thought Abacha was going to hand over.
Baba Kekere Jakonde.
Yes, it was.
They sent him to Abacha.
Yes.
You are saying that?
At the end, they destroyed that man. Totally. That he was treated like a leper. Must this Yoruba establishment always deal with anybody?
There's a new establishment in Yoruba land already. Yes, but we just
that
have
new establishment must learn not to. Because if they didn't do that to Jakande, if they didn't do that to Bolagi, the story would have been different today.
Kola Ilori, the philosophy of Bolagi. What are we to take away, young persons listening to us? As Bola Ige be celebrated, is there a Bola Ige school of thought existing?
Well, it might not be really formal.
Why? After 20 years?
But it's existing.
There should be a Bola Ige school.
I agree with you.
It should be studied in political science departments.
Overdue.
Why are we not doing those things?
Well, I think efforts are in place, which I know. And thank God, we are still lucky to have the presence of His Excellency, Ambassador Yemi Farombi with us, still kicking, good health, and we pray for more useful years for you, sir. There are people like him, very close to some of us. And so long as we can pull strings together, my good brother is here. There are a lot of us who belong to a school of thought, and we don't want it to perish, because we have not been able to ask questions, and we should develop that culture. We must ask questions.
No, he's an intellectual, you know.
Yes.
Where do I access Bola Ige works? Where is Bola Ige's library? You know, it's time we started visiting his library, started opening his books. Because now, you can see, Awolowo was bright and intelligent. They did not allow him to rule. How come the intelligent ones don't govern? We need to change it. And it's now.
We need to change the establishment.
We are changing it already.
And the system.
We are doing that.
Once you change the establishment, you're going to change the system.
Yes.
And that is what we need in this country.
Let's feel Bola Ige in this song, and we'll hear his voice.
Lagbaja.
Lagbaja featuring Bola Ige.
Nigeria, go, go. A ní láti gbàdúrà gidi, a ní láti gbàdúrà gidi.
ẹlẹ́ṣẹ̀ ni wá bàbá ẹ dáríjì wá o ẹ máa ń wò tẹ̀sẹ̀ mọ́ wa lára bàbá. Of the nation, we need a vision and rededication, for we have a mission. Bàbá ẹ dáríjì wá o ẹ máa wo tẹ̀sẹ̀ mọ́ wa lára bàbá 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 mo wọlé àdúrà. Lift up this nation now we take time when you go away. They no go put the leadership before your hand. Now you go take calm yourself. No be by force, not by sense. Now you go making Nigeria better. Oh. A nation with vision must plan for future. Youth, not the future. Youth of this nation, die your show go to well. You go to your die. We have a mission to build this nation. Eba jẹ́ àpagbà kan kó fàdúrà ràn wá lọ́wọ́. Àgbà kí wá lọ́jà láyé kó rí ọmọ tuntun wò. He needs no introduction. He has seen many tribulations. This is a voice of wisdom. Olóyè pàtàkì láwùjọ lẹ́ni tó bá ń bá prisoner of war. Bóyá ẹ gbàdúrà fún wa, pray for the youth.
Could you please stand in silence? You may or may not believe it, but it is true. God is with us here in this country. Yes. Nigeria. Yes. Yes. Ọlọ́run á wà pẹ̀lú ẹ̀. Nǹkan tó dáwọ́lé ó máa ṣe oríire ni. Ọ̀bá làbókè kókó làbókúta irọ́ ni wọ́n ń pa má dà kò sí nǹkan tó máa ṣe ẹ́. Ó ti o. Wà á máa lọ síwájú ni. Bó ti ń gbóríyìn fáwọn tó yẹ kó gbóríyìn fún Ọlọ́run á máa gbóríyìn fún ẹ. May God in His infinite mercy and wisdom crown you with all the desires that you seek. May you be greater than we. May you be greater than we. May you be greater than
we. Yes, that's the voice of Bolade praying for the youth.
You see, there's something I really want to emphasize again. That is the attitude of Uncle Bolage to his lieutenants, which some of these people count as arrogance. The truth is that they cannot stand his intelligence.
Thank you. Kola Ilori, thank you for featuring on State Affairs. Dr. Farumbi, that's the voice of Ige.
Let us work on the establishment. And Nigeria will be greater.
Dr. Farumbi, thank you for featuring on State Affairs.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Adidayo.
Yeah, this has been left unsaid. You know, Bolage was a creative person. According to Wole Soyinka, he escaped into creative arts to escape the barbarism of politics. He was a member of Association of Nigerian Authors. He loved music, and he was everything.
Thank you.
May God rest his soul.
Thank you, Dr. Adidayo.
Thank you.
How do you identify members of the establishment that create poverty? They are persons of easy values and little dreams. They are in the saddle. And when they are in the saddle, they affect their people with violence and underdevelopment. That they are consumed by lust, pleasure, and excitement. That they are plagues of poverty and depression. Men of the establishment spend their times in chase of recognition and are bogged down by impulses and emotions that drag society to the doldrums. By their nature, they lack the knowledge of principles that gives balance, stability, and influence to the state. Redemption comes when people in search of peace, justice, and progress hold on to kind aspirations, and they choose for themselves leaders skilled in the ideals of effective leadership. Hold this as an infallible truth. Everything good has come. A new establishment is born. Wait as it unravels. Next week is another time. I worked with Yemi Faturoti. I worked with Shenwo Balano, streaming State Affairs to the world. I worked with Tosin Oladele. Edmund Obilo is my name. The next program is entertainment. Oh, the next program is Ijoba Ibile. Wait, Abiodun Adewale. Don't go away.
Of the Fisher Building. This is Detroit's number one hit music station.
Splash 105.5 FM, your integrity station.
Entertainment.
Proceed with extreme caution. It's
information.
This message is being recorded at a...
More music.